Hey, lovely people. Welcome to the first episode, and thank you for lending me your ear. This is a show about interesting people I bump into who share intimate stories about their lives and their general views about life. I actually believe we all have a story to tell, and we each can learn from each other. And I hope the show does that for you. My name is Mnotom Chali, and it's an absolute pleasure to meet you. Welcome. Look, you're already blushing. So on the show today, guys, I'm very pleased to announce we have a very honorable guest, Sihle Ndimba, who has faced a lot of trials and tribulations in her life. So how we're going to structure this episode today is quite different from how we would conduct future interviews. We won't go through her life story as yet. That'll be for another follow-up interview. How I decided to do this today is to fire some questions at her. Some might be light, some might be deep, and some will just cause her to think and really search deep within her soul. The main point of this interview being to get a better insight into this intellectual human being that is sitting in front of me, and also to just generally understand what drives her, what are her motivations in life, and if we're lucky, we might just get a glimpse of what are her fears. However, that all depends on how the questions are structured and how the conversation flows. So enough of my talking. I'm pretty sure you're tired of hearing my voice. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am pleased to announce Sihle Ndimba on the show. And thank you so much for joining me, Sihle. It actually really means a lot to me. So, Sihle, let us just begin, I don't know if you played the game 36 questions, and I'm not going to actually go through all of the 36 questions because we'll be sitting here for hours. What I will do is nitpick some questions, and we'll see how that goes, and we'll just take it from there. But before I start, I'm jumping ahead of myself here. Can you just introduce yourself to the listeners? Tell us where you're from and where are you right now?
Wow. So first off, thank you so much for having me on the show. My name is Sihle Ndimba, short for Sihle Ndimba. I am from a small town called Port Elizabeth, fondly known as the Friendly City, not so fondly known as the armpit of South Africa. So I'm 26 years old. And what else am I supposed to tell you about myself?
Just take it as an introduction, like for people who just don't know you. What are you about?
Who am I? What am I about? So I'm 26 years old. I'm a deep thinker who's trying to turn that into doing. So it's a little bit frustrating, but that's the space that I'm in right now. Trying to translate all of this capacity on the inside into sort of tangible action. I've been working in marketing for the past 4 years. In terms of my academics, it's been very heavily social science focused, so sort of politics and international relations. And I think all I end up gravitating towards is things which would affect change. And affecting change doesn't need to be on a mass scale. It just needs to be, it can be impactful with one, as long as it's a positive change. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make that a reality in my life, and trying to figure out how I can marry that with my professional aspirations.
And when you speak about change, just briefly on that, it's very interesting you speak on change. If, I don't know, it doesn't matter if it's not precise enough, like, is it a change in South Africa? Is it a change in one person's life? Is it a change in Africa? Is it a change in the world?
Okay, well, first prize is the world, obviously.
Okay.
But where's my heart? My heart is in South Africa. We are a very young country. The country's younger than we are. I am older than South Africa, if you think about it as we know it. And one thing I've been grappling with, and it's so funny since I've been living in London and spending a lot of time walking and, avoiding eye contact and all the things that you do to just keep yourself sane and thinking. And one thing that I realized was our generation is the generation that is going to build this country. So what happens in South Africa is 100% dependent on the people who stay and get their hands dirty. We have the opportunity, as myself and you and our spouses and everyone in our group, to build the country that we want it to be. You don't obviously always have the strength at the outset. So when I say impact doesn't need to be large, it can start with one person. It's just because you need to start somewhere. So I think for now, I just need to start. Start doing something. Start making someone's life better. Start making someone's circumstances better. While you figure out the master plan. Like, master plan, even if it takes me 20 years, oksalayo, at the age of 46, I'll have figured out what the master plan is and how I'm going to change the narrative of South Africa, make it a better place for my children. That's fine. Like, I'm not too worried about, having all the answers right now. Ubomi is long. So don't spend your life trying to wait for that moment where you really have the light bulb come on, when you can be taking that 20 years to make an impact, even though it's very small.
On that note, you mentioned something that whilst you're here in London, you almost want to have a complete view of, I'm just trying to think, how did you put it? Like, you want to have such clarity when you go back to South Africa that you can obviously unleash your full potential. On that, if you don't have the clarity when you leave here, would you consider that a failure?
No, because if I don't have the clarity by the time I leave, I'll be a failure by my own timeline. And you'll know that I'm a person, faith is a big part of my life. It's a big part of my life. And if you, like me, believe that, God is the author of time.
Hey fellow rockstars, so thank you for still sticking with me. This is a snippet of what's to come after the break. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
Oh, wow.
And what got us to this point was speaking about failures, right? So
yeah,
in Sihle's world, right? The best you can, what's your definition of failing, or does it exist? How does failure look like to you?
Failure, ooh, that's so tricky, because it's so specific. You have to, it's in a box, right? So you had to have done something within the box and then you didn't, therefore you failed. That's how I understand it. So if you, something super, 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 okay. So, we say mnoto, this is the challenge, make us an omelette.
Mm-hmm.
And you go into the kitchen and you crack your eggs and you do your thing. And, we said cheese omelette, ne? With onions. Crack your eggs, you do your thing, and then you put it in the pan, but you get a bit excited and you just keep touching the thing. Now everyone comes through with their beautiful crescent moon omelets, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful crescent moon omelets, and here comes Noto with this heap of cheesy eggs and onions. Noto failed. Because they wanted an omelette. But you didn't fail, because what did you do? You produced scrambled eggs, which is a great eating alternative. Maybe scrambled eggs had never been seen until that point before. Maybe scrambled eggs were really great. And
so
you know what I'm saying?
I hear you. It's almost like you didn't, in the marketing world, you didn't follow the brief. So you failed. But I don't know, for me, and you can disagree if you want to. My view, for example, and not to hijack this, but I guess it comes down to perspective, right? Because I liked what you were saying in terms of an omelette, but then you produced a scrambled egg. So I'd be depending on how you view life, perspective again, you'd be no, I didn't fail. I just produced something new that you guys didn't know about.
Well, you failed the test. You still you failed the test, but you're not a failure. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You failed the test. Okay, sharp. But there's a lesson there. There was an innovation that came out of that. There was an opportunity to improve. So my definition of failure, almost, failure would be you not going and trying until you get it right and adding an extra skill. I think failure is an opportunity wasted to learn and better yourself. I hate the term, but that's the only way that I think of it. Like, if I think of any time that I've failed, it's when I've not taken an opportunity to learn and better myself or take something and make it better.
I love that. No, okay. Word, as they used to say. The next question, I really like this, and I really like to ask my guests, because I'm a highly reflective person. I believe in actually reflecting a lot, not a lot, but at least once a day. And these type of questions actually cause you to reflect, right? So I would like to know, Sihle, for what in life do you feel most grateful for?
Oh my goodness.
And you can take your time. I mean, you don't have to answer like straight away.
I know the answer, and I think I get reminded of it anytime something happens. I am so grateful for my soundness of mind and the fact that I have all my faculties in order. Like, you need very little else in the physical realm, if that makes sense. You need very little else. Like, if there were, heaven forbid, a zombie apocalypse, this is what's going to get you through it, eh? It's your mind and it's your body. If there were, I don't know, some dystopian apocalyptic situation, money will mean nothing. These things will mean nothing.
Your vessel, right?
It's your vessel. Like, it's your body, it's your mind. It's
the asset. Protect the asset.
Do you know? So for that, I am grateful, because for as long as I have this, I'll have a way of living.
Wow.
In some way, not like that, but I'll be able to, between these things, I'll be able to find a means to live another day.
I like that. After the break, I ask, what did you think life would be like at this stage? Welcome back to the show, and thank you for sticking with us. I really appreciate it. And I'd also appreciate your feedback, whether good or bad. I won't take it to heart. And let's actually get right back into it. I'm going to push the boundaries here a little bit. And feel free, to tell me if you're very uncomfortable, because obviously different people have different contexts in terms of this, and it can get emotional. Look, even looking at you now, expecting such a deep question, so I'll just shoot right at it. And I also like this question. Also causes a lot of reflection, and it also I've always asked this question about myself, and then I do give myself an answer, because somehow I find it playing out in my adult life still. So on that note, if you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
Oh, wow. Oh, if I could choose my own childhood. It's a hard one, hey? Because I know what I'd like to change, but at the same time, I know why that was good for me. Does that make sense?
Sure, yeah. In retrospect.
Yes, yeah. In retrospect, I know why that was good for me. So for me, like, I think the hardest part was my parents had a very dysfunctional relationship. And you know how you grow up in like every house is your house, you think? So you think every house works like your house, right? And then you get older and you're like, whoa, no, okay, this is not whoa. You all don't do that. Oh, no. This is offside. And then you leave, and then you get to like university, and you get older, and you're like, whoa, that was really not okay. So I think I used to think about it a lot, because I was like, what kind of baggage am I taking into my own relationships, having had an example of a really dysfunctional relationship? Do you know what I mean? So as a woman, having seen because they say you internalize your relationships and your family relationships.
Sure.
So people say, if you've had people generally have had a good parental relationship, generally have healthy relationships because they've seen healthy relationships played out. But yeah, so I think that's one thing that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm crippled. I really felt like this for a long time. I'm crippled. Oh no, I'm never going to be in a healthy relationship. No, that's not the case. That's actually not the case. I think it's given me a lot of perspective. And I think it's given me a lot that I can harness to help other people. I just need to figure out how. And I think we also give a lot of power to things that have happened in our lives.
Yeah.
So, I mean, horrific things happen, but we give a lot of power to them and we almost let them manifest in our own lives because we won't release it. There's a poem that someone was reading. I forgot what it was called. It was a really nice, profound one. But what I loved is, in this poem, the guy goes, we are our mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, but we're not their choices. So as much as you've seen whatever you've seen or have internalized whatever you've internalized, you just need to work twice as hard to check yourself all the time. Make sure you're not falling into the same traps. But you have the choice. You don't have to let whatever that is continue. It can end with you. It can end before you. So that's why I wouldn't change it. But I mean, it's not ideal, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm still internalizing that and digesting it. Okay. Again, I love this question. I'm a very curious human being. I mean, even growing up, just briefly, I used to be that nagging child with questions about the world.
Were you?
Yeah, and I think it's grown even now. There was a period, obviously, where I almost got caught by society and fell into, its trappings. But I do believe, slowly but surely, I'm coming out and I'm getting out of the matrix by questioning a lot of things. And yeah, I'm derailing and I digress with all of this. But
it's all right.
Anyways.
It's your show.
I want to know, is there something you've dreamed of doing for a long time? And if yes, why haven't you done it?
Oh my goodness. I think it's something pertaining to music.
Oh, you got some pipes in you.
I think it's something pertaining to music, but it's not the conventional type. I don't know what it is. So I really feel like it's something that I will fulfill in my life.
Sure.
It's not past. It's just sort of upcoming. I know that the conventional people are like, oh, why don't you go on Idols? The idea of being famous kills me. I can't even handle being Sihle sometimes, with people always wanting a piece of me, Can you imagine giving up your anonymity?
All right.
There's beauty in anonymity, hey? There's so much beauty in it and there's humanity in it. Once you lose that, you're basically expected to be a robot.
When you think of a successful person, who's the first person that comes to mind?
Oh my goodness. Oprah's so cliched. But also Michelle Obama.
Why Michelle Obama?
Michelle Obama may not be the person at the forefront, but every single thing that she's done has been excellent. And every single thing that she's done has made impact. She made a president, man. Who can say they made a president? She has maintained the standard of excellence probably since she was a teenager. And she's continued that standard of excellence, probably infected the people around her, i.e. her husband, with that same standard of excellence, and is raising some excellent ass kids, man. That's success.
I like that. Man, Sihle, I need you for another interview actually. Okay. What did you think life would be like at this stage?
Wow, definitely didn't think any of this. Wow. So, 15-year-old Sihle wanted to be a dermatologist.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking, I mean, I know I'm generalizing right now, but in the black community,
parents. Oh, yeah.
dermatologist, what?
I'm about to flip it on you. So I
Okay.
wanted to be a dermatologist. My mom had skin issues when I was a kid. From a bleach. Why a bleacher? Why a chaser? I don't know if it's bleach. They called it a chaser.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother, anyone who knows my mother or has seen the way my sister looked, my mother was the original yellow bone. There was no need. But because of the time that they were in, she used those skin products, and she was fine until she had children. And then when she had children, she basically had black marks on either side of her face. So she spent a lot of time and we spent a lot of time in the dermatologist's office waiting, trying to get her better. I have had a fascination with the body since I was a kid. So I used to watch anything. If there's anything about the body, if it was on National Geographic, if it was on SABC 2, no matter what it was, I would find it, and no one would bother me. No one would bother me because I wanted to watch my story about the body. So I thought I was going to be a dermatologist. And then, I picked all my subjects accordingly. Got to matric, now it's applying time. My parents were like, nah. My father's like, you're not a doctor, child. And I'm like, no, what do you mean? He was like, no, you're not a doctor. That's such a... I don't know how to explain it, but it's such a isolating role. He's like, you'll never survive. You're going to be a marketer. And I was like, I swear. Then I went to go and study politics. Look at me now. But it's exactly where I needed to be at that time. 22-year-old Sihle spent all her time at a place called Pig and Swizzle.
Yeah, all the Cape Town folk and the people who visit will know exactly.
Doing what? I'm a wololo. But why? It was where I needed to be for that time in my life.
Okay.
So right now, I am exactly where I need to be. Even if I say 2016 and 17 were valleys, they were exactly where I needed to be.
What's the one piece of advice you would give to your children?
Oh my goodness. Baby girl.
So it's going to be a girl, clearly.
No, so baby girl, firstly, you are a force. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And if they do, come to me and I'll sort them out. Okay. That's my baby girl's advice. Baby boy, you are above. Don't try and fit in with other guys that are beneath you.
Ooh.
Don't sell your soul to fit in. Don't go against what you believe to fit in. Don't put yourself in bad standing with, God just to fit in. Don't chase emptiness to fit in. I'm reading The Weight right now. It's very interesting.
And lastly but not least, you're just speaking.
Yeah?
Lastly but not least, you're speaking about the force right now. So I want to know, just for the audience, Sihle Ndimba, what is your superpower?
My superpower? I am a massive force of positivity and upliftment.
I like that.
Yeah. I think I have an ability to encourage people and an ability to make people feel good about themselves. I know in university, which is why I had so many friends, I told myself that people must feel better for having seen me. Your day must be brighter because you've interacted with me. And lost that for a bit, but I'm back, I think that's what I'm good at. I'm good at encouraging people. I'm good at making people feel like they are not only worth something, but really valuable. And I really am good at getting people to rally around and do something, but in a way that makes them feel good. Like that's what I bring to my team. And I've been told this by multiple people and leaders that's what I bring to my team. That's what I bring to my leaders. And that's what I will bring to the team that I lead eventually when I'm changing the world.
Don't say no more, please. I love that ending. Thank you, Sihle. I know it's very late, but I must say that I really appreciate the wisdom that you've actually shared with us today. And even taking the time, because time is valuable. And yeah, man, I have nothing more to say, but I just appreciate. I learned from you. Even from this interview, I've learned a lot more about you and what you have to offer the world. And I do hope that you will live to your fullest potential and you'll have that impact in the universe that you want to have. And I hope to have more interviews with you and just to get to know you better, and also for the listeners out there, whether they're in Limpopo or Port Elizabeth or the armpits of South Africa, they get to know you better, and because you have a beautiful story to share, and I believe that South Africa should hear that story. So hopefully, even if it's that one child or one person, whether in corporate or even an older person, they do get inspired from what you've achieved. So on that note, you have yourself a lovely evening and take it easy. Thank you very much.
I can't say thanks.
Yeah, you can.
Oh my gosh, wow, you're about to make a thug cry on a Tuesday. That's not going to happen. But thanks so much for having me. Really humbled by all your nice words. Thank you for inviting me to speak on this platform that you're creating. I'm, just trusting in the Lord that it'll grow from strength to strength. I'm really grateful that I could have been one of the first people to grace this platform with my 2-3 Model C English. Thank you, really appreciate it. I will definitely jump at any opportunity to be interviewed by you in future. This is so much fun, and I've learned a lot about myself as well.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings our first episode to an end. I'd like to thank Sihle again for taking the time to do this interview with me. And I would appreciate any feedback at this point with regards to what you liked about the show and how can we make this show and this podcast better for you, whether you want longer form interviews or shorter. And lastly, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this. Stay awesome, light up the dark, and remember to tell your story. And hopefully I can bump into you soon.